Speak about integrated project delivery in the Norwegian construction industry.
Thank you. So my name is Runar Noré. I'm here representing the Norwegian University of Science and Technology. Thank you. This paper is about integrated project delivery, or IPD, in Norway. The other authors of the paper is Andreas Aslesen, Bjørn Vareg, and Ola Ladre. So IPD is being more and more popular around the world, especially in the United States. But to this date, there's only been one project in Norway that has used IPD. And that project is called the Tønsberg project. And essentially this paper is a case study of that exact project. So you could say that this paper provides the first insight in the use of IPD in Norway. The purpose of the paper is to first identify which theoretical IPD elements that are used in the Tønsberg project, what those IPD elements are, I will come back to later. And then secondly, the purpose is to document the experiences with the use of these IPD elements in the Tønsberg project. And then based on these experiences and also findings in the literature, the purpose is to provide recommendations for the use of IPD in future projects in Norway. But I believe that our recommendations are quite general and can also be applied to other countries. And I would say that the main contribution of this paper is to provide a framework for use of future IPD projects. The research is based on a comprehensive literature review on IPD and semi-structured interviews with key participants at the Tønsberg project. Yep. So what is IPD? It's a delivery method that seeks to improve project performance through a high level of collaboration between key participants. And this is achieved by aligning the participants' interests with the overall project goals. But when we started the study, we couldn't find a single universal definition of what IPD really was. So we started making this table right here. And it shows different definitions of what elements IPD includes from different sources. So what we came up with, and I'll read them for you, is a multi-party contract, shared risk and reward, early involvement of key participants, intensified planning, collaborative decision-making, collaborative goal definition, liability waivers, financial transparency, lean, BIM, integrated information, mutual respect and trust, willingness to collaborate, open communication, and co-location. And this paper is, all the recommendations presented in this paper is based on these elements right here. So, the Tønsberg project, as I said, it's the first IPD project in Norway. And it's therefore a landmark project within the Norwegian construction industry. It's a really complex project. It's a hospital project consisting of a psychiatric building right here, and a somatic building. In total, it's about 43,000 square meters, and total cost is approximately $370 million US. The project is set to be finished in 2021, and so it's an ongoing project. I believe they have started in 2017, so. And also one of the authors in this paper is the lead contract and procurement manager at the project. So by involving him in the project, we really got a good insight in the day-to-day delivery of the project, and also we got in touch with the key personnel. So, some of the key findings. Somewhat surprisingly, it turns out the Tønsberg project has implemented all of the elements we found in our literature study. So you can say they really went all in and can be considered as a true IPD project. But not all elements were fully implemented though. For example, one of the elements is collaborative goal definition, and in the Tønsberg project, not every goals are defined collaboratively, but some of them. But we concluded that all elements were implemented. And as the first IPD project in Norway, they also had to develop the first IPD contract. In the Tønsberg project, they have used a multi-party agreement between the owner, the contractor, and the designer. The contract use is based on the American contract called the Integrated Form of Agreement, or IFOA. They took that as a starting point and started Norwegianizing it, adapting it to the Norwegian laws, essentially. They have also included 3 of the key technical subcontractors in the shared risk-reward pool, so that around 70% of the project's total scope is included in the IPD agreement. And not only have they implemented a lot of IPD elements, they have also implemented a lot of lean methodology. For example, just to name a few, they have used the last planner system, target value design, ICE meetings, A3 reporting, and so they have really went all in, implementing a lot of different aspects. But that has always also been a challenge. A lot of the interviews describe that it's been challenging to implement so much new at once, and that they somewhat underestimated the need for teaching before starting. And by involving the key participants early in the feasibility study, they have really developed a high degree of common understanding between the participants early on. And as a result of that, the experiences so far, even though keep in mind it's an ongoing project, the experiences indicate that the total cost of change orders during the project period will be drastically reduced compared to a more traditional project. And when it comes to aligning the interests of the different participants and also facilitating collaboration, we found that the shared risk and reward in the combination with co-location has been the most important elements used. For shared risk and reward has really helped on a management level, whereas maximizing your profits is obviously an incentive for the management. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the everyday worker is incentivized by that. So by working together, co-located, when you start to know each other, and that has really helped. We also found that the project culture is based on a really high degree of trust and the willingness to collaborate. As I mentioned, the shared risk and reward and co-location has helped with that, but also it helps that the Norwegian industry is relatively small and most of the actors already know each other and have some degree of trust already. And I also believe it helps that the transfer project is a prestige project for all the participants, and they're really prioritizing this project. But as a result, they have really developed a functioning and integrated project team that's worked together, and they never discuss guilt when problems arrive. They're always discussing solutions, solving problems. But there's also been problems, of course. The biggest problem or the challenge has been making the collaborative decision-making work. Compared to the traditional project where the contractor has more influence, most the saying, the owner and contractor and this designer has an equal saying in this IPD form. And so having 3 equal parts when making decisions has led to some really passive decision-making processes, because the focus has been more on making the most cost-effective solutions instead of actually making decisions. And so many times when they have discussed solutions, no decision has been made. It's just been an ongoing process. So they're working on right now to give certain people mandates to make decisions on the behalf of the entire IPD team. And thereby solving this passive problem. And all of the IPD elements identified through this literature study are recommended for future projects. If you read the paper, it presents recommendations tied to every single element. But if I were to discuss this now, I would stand there for hours. So. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right, I would like to thank all the speakers. You can stay up front. If I can get the other speakers, please to come forward again. We'll have a question and answer session, and the routine on